Protein, such a hot topic right now. I'm going to talk to you about how much protein you should be taking, when you should be taking it, what sources you should be getting it from, super controversial topic right now, and show you the latest research so you can maximize your gains and maximize your longevity. First, let me introduce myself. I am a doctor. I'm a mom of 2 beautiful young children and a wife. I have a full-time job and I try to give you all the tips and tricks to make your journey successful so we can make it as easy as possible so you can get the results that you want. First of all, let's talk about what is protein. Protein is a tertiary structure, i.e. a 3D structure, composed of different elements, mainly carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. Interestingly enough, the main components of our atmosphere are exactly the same. It's almost like there's a design. Protein is composed of 20 different amino acids. You may remember this from your high school biology class, so hold on to your seats. I'm going to take you back on that trip. So the 20 different amino acids are made of 11 non-essential amino acids and 9 essential amino acids. That doesn't mean that you don't need the non-essential amino acids. It just means that your body can make that. Your body cannot make the essential amino acids, meaning that you have to get them from outside sources in order to use them. So we have to get that from our diet. So a complete protein includes all 9 essential amino acids, which is critical. I was super surprised by this because I was ingesting a protein that I will discuss in a minute that is not a complete protein and counting it towards my daily protein requirement. So really important, it has to have 9 essential amino acids in order for it to be as effective as possible at building muscle, repairing tissue, and for all the longevity standpoints. So protein, unfortunately, cannot be stored in the body for the excess amount that we take in. So unlike carbohydrates, which get stored as glycogen in the liver and muscle, and then any extra turns into fat, and extra fat gets turned into fat, protein does not get stored in the body. That would be really nice if we could just get a bigger bicep because we had a big steak. It doesn't work out like that. So we have to make sure that we're getting in our protein throughout the day, which I'm going to go through how much to have, when to have it, and then what sources to get it from. But you need to know the component of protein in order for you to understand the next step. So hold on with me for a little bit more science and we'll get right into it. So remember when I said that protein is composed of amino acids? These amino acids get broken down and go into your bloodstream. And they're in your bloodstream for about 2 or 3 hours for your body to utilize. Because again, we cannot store that protein. So once these amino acids are broken down into the body, that's when we use it. But all protein is not made equal. Not all protein is digestible the same way. So you can get super granular about this and go into deep dive on the digestibility factors, and I will include that in another video, but I'm gonna try to make it as simple as possible. Basically, proteins are rated on your body's ability to intake it and utilize all of the amino acids effectively, and they're not all created equal. We're gonna go over which ones are the best and why. The number 1 best protein to have for muscle growth and for its digestibility and for your body to be able to utilize it is in dairy products, mainly whey protein. So in this study here, I show you how this protein decreased sarcopenia in adults. It also has a huge effect in kids. That makes sense, right? Because what do our babies get? Milk. Milk turns babies into humans, big humans. Milk turns little baby cows into big cows. There are so many benefits to dairy products. Dairy is the wonder protein. It is high in leucine, which aids in muscle growth. It's high in iodine, B12, and you can also reap the additional benefits in some fermented options. And the whey protein specifically in milk is what really aids in muscle repair and almost has 100% digestibility, meaning that 100% of the protein that you're getting, your body is utilizing, and that's key, especially when it comes to muscle growth. Studies show that people that are supplementing with whey protein versus soy protein will have a greater muscle increase with the whey protein because of the digestibility of it and its bioavailability. And it's not just whey protein that is the most beneficial component of dairy. There's also casein protein. And casein is not as fast digesting as whey. It's a little bit more slow digesting, which can really help with hunger. A lot of times people will take casein before going to bed because then it will be digested over a longer period of time so they're not as hungry, and also helps that slow muscle growth tissue overnight when we're sleeping, which is, by the way, when our body is growing muscle. So there are lots of benefits to the dairy products with the whey protein, the casein, it being a complete protein, being a muscle builder. And again, it's 100% bioavailable and digestible. Most people are able to digest whey protein. So if you have digestive issues with it, make sure you're taking an isolate. It has, I think, less than 1% lactose in it. So there are also other whey proteins that you can take with some probiotics that help with the digestibility of it. So try that. If you are still having digestive issues, just try different brands and just experiment and see what works best for you. So with dairy products, which ones should you have? It really depends on your goals and what your calorie structure is. So if you are in a calorie deficit, you might want to stay away from the high fat dairy products. So you might want to go with a reduced fat milk or a reduced fat cheese or a reduced fat yogurt. And you can get different types of milk. There's filtered milks that even have like low carb, much higher protein, and like fortified milks. So you can do that as well. So just go with which one is going to meet your macros. And I talk about how to structure your macros in a video here. So make sure you check that out. And like I said, you can have other dairy products like cheese. Just recognize, I mean, girl, I know, I love me some cheese. It's the best thing ever. But it is also very high in fat. So just be aware of that. And there are some cheeses that are better options. Like goat cheese tends to have a lower fat profile compared to like a hard cheese like cheddar. So just be conscious of that. Again, you just want it to fit within your macros and make sure it's fitting in your plan. But dairy is such an amazing protein. You're going to be able to digest it well, and you're going to be able to absorb almost 100% of the protein that's in there. And some studies even show that it is 100%, especially when we're talking about whey isolate. So be aware that that is going to be your creme de la creme, no pun intended, of your protein choices. Number 2, best option for your protein are eggs. We just did a video on that here. So make sure you check that out and get all the information on eggs. Eggs can be through any form. It can be like whole eggs, hard-boiled eggs, poached eggs, egg whites, egg wraps, you name it. Eggs, they're a good thing. And some form of eggs is a little bit better than others, and we're going to talk about that right now. Egg whites are very, very high protein and very low calorie. They're also very filling. So if you're on a caloric deficit, then eating the egg whites is going to be great for you because it's going to make you full, it's going to give you the protein, and the protein is very bioavailable and digestible. So you're going to absorb, again, most of that protein, and it's going to go straight to that muscle right where you want it to go. Now, there are benefits in eating the whole egg. And again, we talked about that in the video here. And the whole egg has lots of different nutrients, especially in the yolk. The problem with that is that it's also higher in calories. So you need to be aware of how much you're eating. I think of it like a fat supplement. So just like I take my omega-3 fatty acids, which is literally a fat supplement, I'm gonna have a certain number of egg yolks. I've actually bumped it up to 3. I was taking 2 a day, but bumped it up to 3. And I'm gonna get a lot of my fat through the yolks because there's so many health benefits associated with that yolk. And again, it's not gonna increase your cholesterol. It's kind of a misnomer right now. I'm hoping that most people are over that one, but make sure you're taking care of your cholesterol. And the things that are gonna affect your cholesterol are exercise, weight training, eating right. So the cholesterol that's in the eggs, it's not gonna hurt you. And again, watch this video on all the benefits of the egg yolks. It's like God's gift to us in our health, in our longevity. Number 3, best source of protein are lean meats. So we're talking chicken breasts, turkey breasts, lean meat like a filet and fish, Most all types of fish, even the fatty fishes, are really great because of the omega-3 fatty acids in them. You just want to stay away from high mercury fishes, so you want to be really careful with that. So the more predatory and the bigger the fish, chances are the more mercury that's in it. So you want to maybe not eat tuna fish like every day. It could cause some mercury problems. But other forms are not going to be as bad for you, and especially with like shellfish, that can be very beneficial, especially for women with your thyroid, because the iodine levels in there are awesome. Make sure you're getting your lean meats in. And again, it's almost 100% digestible. So your body is going to take gram for gram, break it down in amino acids, and your body is going to be able to utilize that. One of the things that people say is your body doesn't know where the amino acids are coming from a plant or an animal. This is true. Your body doesn't know, but you are not able to break it down, which we're going to go over in a minute. But your body is able to absorb and take in almost all of that animal protein and break it down effectively into those amino acids that go right in the bloodstream and again, right to the muscle where you want it to go. Now, remember what I said, you need to have a complete protein. This is true with every protein that I'm talking about, but it is not true for a collagen protein. That was a surprise to me. So I did a deep dive on this and found out there's not all the 9 essential amino acids in collagen protein. That means that you cannot utilize it to build muscle as effectively or questionably at all. That doesn't mean that you don't get any benefits from your collagen protein, okay? There's lots of literature that shows that it can help with longevity, it can help with your gut, it can help with your connective tissue, but it's not going to count towards your daily protein requirement for getting in the protein that you need for your skeletal muscle mass. So use it as a supplement for your hair and your skin and your gut, and I'm gonna go over that in a future video. Sometimes you can even use it to relax you. I take it in the afternoon and it helps calm and wind me down, but do not use it toward your total protein intake for the day because you can't use it, unfortunately, to build muscle. Okay, I'm ready for the controversy. I'm ready for the negative comments, and I'm so sorry, but we're gonna talk about it. Plant protein. Plant protein. Plants are great. God made them. They do things that we can't do. We cannot photosynthesize. We cannot create proteins from sun. That would be great, but God made plants that do. And they make these wonderful proteins. Like soy is a great protein, but our body is not able to digest it as well compared to animal protein. So when you're looking at the bioavailability and the digestibility, gram for gram, it's not the same with plant proteins. And one of the main reasons is because they're plants. What do I mean by that? Plants, think about it. A plant has a seed and it has a stem and it has leaves. What is that? Fiber. Fiber is going to slow down the ability to break food down, and your body can't digest it. So it literally cuts in half, if not more, the bioavailability and digestibility of some proteins. So for example, there are some cereals that are high protein, and they'll say it's 4 grams of protein for this box, for a cup of this wheat cereal. But in reality, you're only digesting 2 grams because you can't digest the fiber that's in the plant protein. So be really cognizant of that. Remember, it's all about bioavailability and digestibility, and it's not 1 for 1. One of the grains that's often spoken about is quinoa. I love quinoa. It's one of my favorite carbs. It's one of my favorite carbs. It is a high protein carb. It is not a good source of protein because it literally takes 6 cups of quinoa to equal the protein that you would have in 1 steak. That means you're eating about 1,100 calories for that 6 cups of quinoa to equal 1 steak. And that's not your protein for the whole day. So if you got all of your protein from quinoa, you would have to eat equivalent to a heavyweight bodybuilder, or actually you would eat more than a heavyweight male bodybuilder if you got your protein from quinoa, just quinoa. So just be aware, if you're trying to get all your protein from plant sources, you're probably going to have a problem staying in a calorie deficit. And a calorie deficit is required to lose fat. The same is true with other things like peanuts, i.e. peanut butter. Peanut butter is not a good source of protein. So it is a fat. It is a better fat than a lot of other fats, but it is not a source of protein. The amount of peanut butter you would have to ingest to get your protein requirement would result in some problems. Now, not all plant proteins are created equal. Soy protein is a complete protein, and it's more digestible compared to the wheat proteins that I just talked about, or even like quinoa and peanuts, but it's not the same in terms of its caloric load to you. So the amount of calories that's in soy protein in order to get the same number of grams of protein is going to be higher compared to that of whey protein and steak. So another thing you should be very careful about is that not all plant proteins are complete proteins. So you should be very aware of what protein you're getting, and if you are not going to get all the 9 essential amino acids in the plant protein, you need to be getting that elsewhere. Soy, again, is one of those plant proteins that is a complete protein, but again, you do have to have more of it to equal the amount of whey or steak in terms of the number of grams of protein per ounce. So you're gonna have more calories in the soy protein compared to eating steak or dairy. So just be aware, again, of that situation. I know this is controversial. I know this, plants are good for the environment, and for animal lovers, that can be a tough pill to swallow, but it's going to, we are made to better digest animal protein, and that's just the way it is. So you may not like it, it may upset you, but that's how our body is designed. So if you want to maximize your muscle growth and maximize your longevity, you're going to maximize the amount of dairy, eggs, and animal protein that you ingest. Now, research shows that you need about 30 grams of protein in order to maximize protein synthesis, and it only is in your bloodstream for a few hours. This is why it's recommended to break up your meals. So I talk about that in a video here where we discuss how frequently you should eat and predominantly how you should schedule your macros. So I like to have my meals about 3 to 4 times a day. So 3 to 4 meals a day, because it is going to be really hard to get all of your protein in just 2 meals. And you need, again, at least 30 grams. Past that, there's debatable and controversial research on this. Some papers will say that you can utilize a protein, some say not. But I like to have my daily requirement and break it up in those 3 to 4 meals a day to get about 30 grams of protein or more a meal, minimum 30 grams of protein a meal, because that is going to maximize protein synthesis. And because protein is only in the bloodstream for a few hours, this is going to constantly build on itself. So you're never going to reach this point where protein's low and then your body's looking for protein and taking it from your muscle, because we don't want to do that, and we want to maintain our muscle and we want to build our muscle. Remember, muscle is required for longevity. Yes, it makes you look good. Yes, you're going to feel stronger, but it's going to support your bones. It's going to make you less likely to fall. It's going to improve your quality of life and decrease the risk that you're going to end up in a nursing home. It's a sad, horrible thing to think about, but literally this is what we're looking at. That's why you need muscle. You need muscle to preserve your longevity and to preserve your life, so you can renew your mind and renew your body. I hope this information was super helpful so you can maximize your results. And as always, we are here for coaching. So just contact the link on the description, fill out the questionnaire for a complimentary consultation, and we'll get right back with you. Also, please comment in the section below on any questions that you have, your favorite sources of protein, and any video topics you would like us to cover in future videos. As always, thank you for your time. I know we're all busy, very appreciative, and I hope to have you come back and listen to more videos. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel and like, comment, and share this video if it was a blessing to you. Here's another video for you to watch. Have a blessed day.